Yo, what is good, people? We are back with another episode of the F1 2022 My Team Series here on the channel. I am a man of my word. I said I would finish off this season and bring the rest of the episode to you, and we are doing just that. There is 3 races left in this season, only 3 more weeks, 3 more episodes until the end of this championship fight that we've got going on. We are currently in a fight with Carlos Sainz and even Lewis Hamilton for the Drivers' Championship in a 3-way battle, possibly even 4-way battle with Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull for the Constructors' title. Jumping into this one today, we've got Mexico. Next week we have Brazil. The week after, Abu Dhabi, and then that is the end of the season. And without spoiling anything for you, I will just say it comes down to the very last race of the season, so you don't want to miss the next few episodes. If you are new to the channel, which a lot of people will be from the FIFA series, make sure you go back and get yourself up to date with this F1 series if you are interested in F1. Skipping Q1 here for the Mexican Grand Prix qualifying. Me and Senna up in the top 4. Our teammates, of course, Ayrton Senna. We are up in the top 4, showing that the car has some decent enough pace around Mexico, around this Mexican track. So let's jump straight into Q2 and see if we can translate that pace even to a pole position once we get to Q3. Let's find out. But yeah, like I say, if you are new to the channel, get yourself up to date and hit that subscribe button if you are brand new to the channel too. So with that being said, I think that's all the intros out the way. And let's just get into this race today. It's actually a long one, as you can probably tell by the length of the video. It's going to be a long one, so get your snacks in, get your drinks in, sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode today. As we do have, as you can probably tell by the title, I'm not sure what I'll call this video yet, this is our first chance to win the Drivers' Championship. We could wrap it up today. I believe we need to score 5 points more than Carlos Sainz and we win the championship. I did the maths before the race, but I can't remember exactly what it was now. I believe it was 5 more points than Carlos is what we need, and we will win the championship here today. So with that being said, yeah, let's hope we can get that 5 points. Ideally, we could just get pole position, turn it into a race win, and win the championship here in Mexico. But let's see if we have enough pace to slap it on pole position. Coming through in this Q2 session, we go purple in sector 2, purple in sector 3, red in sector 1 now, setting the fastest lap of the session still. With those 2 purple sectors, by the end, it's not good enough for the fastest lap, of course. We are down in P6, just behind our teammate Senna, so at least showing that we do have some really good pace around here. Sergio Perez, by the way, in the Red Bull, out in P11 there. The Mexican out in his home Grand Prix in Q2. Not a good sign for Checo there. But yeah, so me and Senna very close on race pace here. So, well, not race pace, qualifying pace, of course. Let's jump into Q3, see if we can get that pole position that we are hoping to get. Let's find out. Currently sat in the provisional P4 after the previous lap that we've put in. Sainz, the man that we are battling against, in provisional P2. Let's see, can we improve on our time, get ourselves ahead of Carlos Sainz, down to turn 1, missing the apex ever so slightly there for turn 1, through turn 2 and 3, taking a lot of care through turn 3, cost us some traction with 2 tenths down on the delta there because we've lost a lot of traction bouncing over that curve through turn 3, but down to the next braking zone just after 100 meter board trail braking to get it. The car swung to the left because then we've got to swing it back right, and that is very nice indeed. We can get on the throttle here for this double apex, and then now we get back on the throttle again for a little bit of a straight before we have to get a tap of the brakes and throw the car in. Hopefully the front end sticks, and it does. Now this section very fast, take it flat out. If the tyres are in the right working window, we have to drop the gear and lift off the throttle a little bit there to stay on the track. But we're still up in the delta. It wasn't the smoothest sector 2, but it's still a purple sector 2 as we head towards sector 3 now. Braking for this hairpin, crucial right as the curb starts on the right, but we've missed the apex for the hairpin. It's not a good exit out of there. One more corner to go. Can we take the shortest run to the line here and cross the line? What time are we going to get? 2.4 tenths quicker. It's good enough for P2 at the moment. We're on the front row provisional, faster than Carlos Sainz. Are we going to stay there? No, we are not. Charles Leclerc sets the fastest lap of the session and takes pole position here in Mexico by 2 tenths from us. We are moved back to the second row, still ahead of our rival Carlos Sainz though. Can we try and make an impact in the race here? Our teammate down in P6, Ayrton Senna. Let's get to the race, see what we can do. Can we win the championship?
Welcome to Mexico City, the most popular city in North America, and home, of course, to the Mexico City Grand Prix. It's a sellout crowd as usual here at one of the shortest circuits on the Formula One calendar. And who, I wonder, will they be cheering on the top step of today's podium? The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour and providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right and the remaining 7 going to the left. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and the owner driver alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Hamilton, Pierre Gasly, and Ocon, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Albon, and George Russell. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Stroll, Leclerc, they've taken a grid penalty. Ayrton Senna and Vettel. Mick Schumacher, Tsunoda, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Guan Yu Zhou and Robert Schwartzman. Latifi, Ticktum, Verstappen, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. They come into this race with a healthy championship lead. I don't want to say the title race is over, but it will surely take something special or catastrophic to change the outcome at this point.
Certainly there are worse positions to be in, but it's vital to don't let complacency creep in. As soon as you let yourself think it's over before it actually is, that's where everything can and often will go wrong.
There we are then, boys. There is a grid penalty for Charles Leclerc, who was on pole position. He's now starting P12, so we end up on the front row here. If the race ends in this order, we will win the championship because we will finish 5 points ahead of Carlos Sainz. Now, can we get a good parking spot in our grid placements? Yes, we can. I angle ourselves to the left so we can try and pressure Lando Norris from this start. You can see a big tyre mark down the road there. So that's going to help us for grip off the start here, at least you'd hope so. But it is 5 red lights, and it is lights out, and away we go in Mexico. A lot of wheel spin there from the cars behind us. I think Carlos Sainz off to a poor start behind us. We get off to a decent start. We're going to be level with Lando Norris on that run down into turn 1. It's going to be a crazy, chaotic braking zone here. Lando just ahead. Can we send it up the inside into turn 1? There's a yellow flag out. We do go ahead of Lando through turn 2 and 3, but there's a virtual safety car out, and it turns into a full safety car. Ayrton Senna out of the session. What has happened here? On board with our teammate, he was starting further back in the pack. Someone's front wing goes all over the place. There's a lot of debris, and Senna straight into the back of Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. It's losing a wheel there, and there's absolute chaos on the start of this race. Charles Leclerc losing his front wing, and then so many crashes. Somebody into the back of Senna. They've lost the front wing. I think that's an Alfa Romeo there. But safety car out on lap 1. Not what we like to see. Robert Schwartzman out of the session 2 laps after that behind the safety car. Let's see what happened to Schwartzman in the Haas. He just pulls off there with engine failure. So a chaotic start to this race here in Mexico. Let's get racing again though. We are in pole position, or not pole position, P1 if you want to call it that. We've not done a great job of warming our tyres behind the safety car. You can see in the bottom right there, looking a bit cold. Hopefully we get a good run down into turn 1. We get a decent exit out of the last corner. Get the jump on Lando Norris, 6/10 ahead. As we head towards the finish line, there's the green flag anyway that's came back out. And we are down into turn 1 ahead of Lando. He's not going to be close enough to make a move, but we understeer completely past the apex for turn 1 there, showing how cold these tyres were. Really did not do a good job of putting heat into them behind the safety car at all. We have a little wobble coming out to turn 3 there, as you can see. That allows Lando Norris to get a great exit and a run down into the next braking zone. Will Lando be able to come out ahead of this next corner? No, he won't. And that compromised line has allowed Carlos Sainz to try and take over Lando Norris now. Sainz battling with Norris behind. They're going to cost each other time if they stay too wide, especially heading towards this next corner. Definitely not room for 2 cars to go through this corner here. So then can we just race ahead now of the cars behind us? We are 1.3 seconds ahead. Now 1.5, it's jumping. 1.8, 1.9, I told you that they will just lose time if they're going too wide through these corners. 1.8 seconds the gap to Lando. But a few laps later, Lando has closed that gap again. DRS active, and again, we are losing traction through that turn 3 by bumping the curve every lap pretty much. I don't know why I didn't learn my lesson from qualifying by doing that. But Lando back within our DRS range, and another safety car out on lap 6 here. We've only had 2 racing laps in this race, and another safety car is out there. Max Verstappen in a Red Bull straight into the back of an Alpine there, losing his front wing, debris all over the track, and a full safety car has came out. I don't think that was necessary, to be honest. Could have got away with a VSC to clear a front wing off the track, and it looked like it went off the track and off the racing line, so I don't know anyway. But yeah, let's get back to it. We've had literally like 2 racing laps. The rest has been behind safety cars. Can we have a decent normal race now? Let's find out. Can we get a good restart? We can't see our tyre temperatures, but can we get the jump on Lando coming out of this last corner as we head towards the finish line? No overtaken until the green flags, and the green flags are out. We get a decent run again. 5 tenths on Lando the gap as we head towards down into turn 1. Lando closing that gap though in our slipstream. You can see him closing it, getting ever closer as we look in that rear view camera. But down into turn 1 again, just missing the apex tyres behind the safety car, just losing so much heat, so much temperature. But coming through turn 3, we get a decent enough exit. Lando again right on our tail though, no DRS down this straight because of course we've just had a safety car. But same thing again, Lando looking to go around the outside into this next braking zone. Is he going to be able to make a move there? No, he's not, and there's not room for 2 cars through here. Will he try and stick it up the inside? He has. He's still in there. We're giving him space. We are being a fair racer right now. We're giving Lando the space, and there he goes. Lando Norris round the outside, heading towards this corner. I said there's not enough room for 2 cars, and there's definitely not. We outbrake ourselves. Collision with Lando, and Sainz goes through. There's Ocon. Ocon tries to go through. We're completely out of shape, and Ocon's flying all over the place. We're flying all over the place. Carlos Sainz goes through and takes the lead of this race. Ocon behind us off the track there. Lando Norris has actually dropped down to P5 behind Lewis Hamilton now. That was chaotic. That was poor from me to try and shoot it up the inside there of Lando and then completely understeer off the track, and into the McLaren of Lando Norris. But anyway, Carlos Sainz now in the lead. Remember, I said we needed 5 more points than Carlos to win the championship here, and now Carlos is going to be 6 points ahead of us if it stays as it is. Can we try and get back on Carlos Sainz and overtake him, retake the lead of this race? Let's find out. Down to turn 1, are we going to be close enough to make a move? No, we are not. Can we nail the first sector though? We've been poor so far in this race in the first sector, but we get a decent exit there out of turn 3, finally avoiding the curve for once. There's a yellow flag behind yet again. What is going on in this race? We are driving with a bunch of fools. Why can nobody take turn 1 without crashing into each other? Hopefully there's not another safety car, because that would just be really annoying. And spoiler alert, there wasn't another safety car. Well, it's not really a spoiler because you've just seen the lap. There wasn't another safety car on lap 10 there. But right now we are on the gearbox of Carlos Sainz, coming through the final corner, setting green sectors. Like I say, we've hardly had any actual racing laps, so the tyres haven't really been pushed that hard so far in this race, and we crossed the line with a new personal best lap. It's sadly not good enough to take away the fastest lap point from Lando Norris, who currently holds it, but we have DRS and we are in the slipstream of Carlos Sainz on the run down into turn 1. Are we going to have enough space up the inside to send a move? No, we are not. Carlos stays ahead for another lap. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint, though. There are a lot of laps left in this race there. A bit of oversteer, which we have to correct on the exit to turn 3. Another run down on Carlos with our DRS wing open, but again, not close enough to make that move into the next braking zone. We are right on this guy's gearbox, though, so hopefully we can make a move soon and just stick with him through these next few laps. It's very hard to follow through here, even with the new cars. Hard to follow behind another car in the dirty air. You lose so much downforce coming through the corner, though. We get a decent enough exit into another DRS point. The DRS zones just aren't long enough on this circuit, you know. I mean, the main straight definitely is, but the other 2 DRS points that you do have, I feel like they're just not long enough to make any sort of impact. Can we get a good exit out of the hairpin now? I'll take a deep line there to try and get on the throttle early as we come through the final corner again to end lap 13 and start lap 14. Ocon, the car behind, in P3. We do set the new fastest lap of the race as well and take that fastest lap point. Ocon, the car behind in P3, 2.5 behind. He's no threat whatsoever. Now we can make the move on Carlos Sainz down into turn 1. We're going to be wheel to wheel. We get just ahead into the braking zone. Who's going to come out ahead now? Through turn 1, Carlos up the inside. We have the inside line for turn 2, which means we can dictate the racing line, and we do come out ahead of Carlos Sainz and have DRS still for this next mini straight. We have retaken the lead, and again, as things stand, we will be world champion if the race ends as it is, but there are a lot of laps left. I am not taking anything for granted. Anything could still happen in this race here. Lap 14, we are pushing still. Carlos still pushing as well. Bit of oversteer, but you've got to correct Carlos right in our DRS gap. You can see 6 tenths behind. He's going to have that wing open for this straight, and we know that the Ferraris have great straight line speed, one of the best engines this season in our My Team career mode. And there goes Carlos Sainz. Once he has that wing open, look at the closing speed, and he's going to be miles ahead as we head towards the braking zone. Can we send it up the inside? No, we're going to be too far back. Carlos just got that extra little bit further ahead as he made it into the braking zone for turn 1, and it's a fair play, fair move, easy does it. Can we still push though? The tyres are getting a bit worn now. We had a lot of laps behind the safety car, but we are pushing really hard. We're fighting for a championship right now, you know. Lap 17 still right on the gearbox of Carlos Sainz. This is surely going to be an easy overtake. Carlos pulls off into the pits though on lap 17. Remember, we changed our strategy to now pit on lap 19 because of the few laps we've done behind the safety car. Saved some tyre wear. So Carlos into the pits, Lando into the pits. We cross the line with a new fastest lap. Never mind these tyres falling off. We've got a new fastest lap on our in lap. Obviously lap 19 we're coming into pits now. Ocon and Perez into the pits as well. So we're going to be plain sailing here until we come into the pits ourselves. Max Verstappen, remember, he took an early pit stop because of that front wing damage he took down into turn 1. So Max Verstappen is on the hard tyres. Are we going to come out ahead of Max Verstappen, who's currently sat in P2? Now I'm thinking surely Max has another pit stop to take, and he's not going to go to the end on these hard tyres when he put them on like lap 5 or something. But we come out to the pits, and Verstappen does go ahead into P1. So we come out 3 seconds ahead of Carlos Sainz, which is great to see. I asked the engineer about some information about Max, because they normally tell you how many pit stops the car in front has left. But the engineer didn't say anything about Max pitting again. But I thought surely he's got to, because those tyres are going to be absolutely knackered by the end of the race. But anyway, we come out 1.9 ahead of Carlos Sainz. He closes that gap by the time we get to lap 22. Into the braking zone, Carlos Sainz looking to go around the outside. Is that a bit of carbon fibre off the track there? And Carlos Sainz has lost a front wing end plate. There is contact. Let's get a replay of that from our onboard. Carlos closed that gap. And as he has DRS open down into the braking zone, we don't hesitate or move. Just a casual braking zone. And Carlos must have locked up or something. Carlos Sainz into the back of us. He has lost a front wing end plate. And there is still 14 laps to go on this race. And Carlos Sainz is going to be hindered for performance. That's the word I was looking for. There's the onboard. And he lost that front wing end plate. Carlos has surely got a pit. You see, by the end of the lap, we were 2 seconds ahead of him, so he's got to pit for a new front wing, and Carlos Sainz is now out of vision, out of sight, out of mind. All we need is 5 points, and we win the championship. That was it. It wasn't 5 points more than Carlos. I believe it was just 5 points in general. We needed 5 points to win. As it stands, we are currently on for 19 points, is it? P2 and fastest lap. I think it's 19. Or is it? I don't actually know. Is it 19 or 20? I'm confused. I don't know. But yeah, all we need is 5 points anyway to win the championship. And with Carlos Sainz not being able to make an impact there. And oh my God, speaking of impact, we've spun. We were casually just chilling in P2 and we spun again, and there's almost contact as 2 fast cars, Lewis Hamilton and Esteban Ocon, fly past us. There's Lando Norris, the other McLaren. He overtakes us. George Russell overtakes us. Alex Albon and Fernando Alonso overtake as we try and get ourselves back on track. And there's a fast AlphaTauri coming in. Lance Stroll. That was dangerous from us to come back onto the track there. Our tyres absolutely burning now because of those burnouts we've just done and the spins. And Pierre Gasly up the inside. There's contact. Gasly nudges us off the track there. We did a similar thing before to Lando Norris, and what a chaotic moment that is. All we needed was 5 points. We were currently on for 19 or 20, however many we were on for, and we just come round, understeered round the corner, and then I got on the throttle way too early. Driver error, and we've made a rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. That's what that is right there. But yeah, it's been rare this season. I don't think we've made any mistakes so far this season. We've had a great season, and that is just a rookie mistake. You can see us just fall from P2 all the way down to P9, which, as you may know, is 2 points. So 2 points is not going to be good enough to win a championship here today in Mexico, and especially when Carlos Sainz is down in P17. This was a great chance to do it. I believe the maths was, if Carlos didn't get any points, all we needed was 5 points. So with Carlos outside the points, this is a great chance to capitalise on that and win the championship, you know. But we're down in P9. Here comes Pierre Gasly trying to send one up the inside down into turn 1. We went from racing for the race win against Max Verstappen to now racing for P9 against Pierre Gasly. What an absolutely silly moment from me. Just poor driver mistake, and it's so annoying when you do that. All you've got to do is forget about it and get in the zone. You can see the other AlphaTauri, Lance Stroll, in front of us, 2 seconds ahead. Alex Albon in P7 is 4 seconds ahead. I'm thinking this race might be lost, but by lap 25, we've closed the gap to Lance Stroll. Like I say, we got in the zone. I just got completely focused, oversteer for Lance Stroll there, and we were right on his gearbox. If we went full throttle, we would have crashed into him. We've had to lift off a little bit. We get a good exit though. Lance Stroll made a mistake there in that sector, and he's going to cover us down to the braking zone, so we get the switch back, and we send it up the inside. See you later, Lance Stroll. That's a nice overtake from us, showing that pace we are pushing with now. That gap to Alex Albon, which was 4 seconds, is now 2 seconds. He's in a tiny little battle with Fernando Alonso as well, so hopefully they hold each other up and we can start to make moves on Alex Albon. We are catching the car ahead. We are absolutely flying. We've put in a 1.5 second gap to Stroll behind, and we've closed the gap again to Alex Albon. We've nearly took a second out of him with that last lap, with a red first sector, a green sector 2 though. Even though we are pushing these tyres hard, there is still life in them for sure, as you can see as we cross the line with a new fastest lap yet again. So definitely, I feel like when my tyres feel dead, that is when I actually have the best laps with them. The gap to Albon. Now we have DRS by the end of the lap. We're picking up some wear on the engine as well. The energy store picking up some wear, the ICE picking up some wear, the turbocharger and the gearbox all heading towards over 50%. The gearbox already on 62%. So hopefully there's no engine issues by the end of this race, because we're going to head down now into turn 1, make Alex Albon cover the inside there, but he comes back, tries to cover the inside, and we managed to get the inside. And there's a yellow flag. Alex Albon outbraked himself, must have locked up, and he's went straight on through turn 1. So, easy overtake there. We're up into P7. The next car in front, Fernando Alonso, 2.3 ahead. At one point, it looked like Alonso was completely just off into the distance, and we would never make up that gap. But we have caught back up to Fernando Alonso. Well, not necessarily, because he's still 2.2 seconds ahead. And George Russell is 7 seconds ahead in P5. But just how much of an impact can we have in this race? As, again, we are picking up some engine wear, and I'm very concerned about that, especially the gearbox. I hope we don't lose any gears before the end of the race. That would be a disaster. But now we have caught up to Fernando Alonso. A nice exit through the hairpin there. And hopefully we're going to be in DRS range for this straight. No, we are not. But we saved up a lot of battery charge. As you can see, 65%. Saved that up for a few laps. A new fastest lap of the race with a purple sector 3. We did absolutely nail sector 3 there, to be fair. I'm going to use a lot of this battery charge to absolutely blitz down the main straight now to try and catch up to Fernando Alonso, and hopefully make a pass and recover from what was going to be a podium, which we bottled down into P9, which we've recovered now to P6 or P7, and we are chasing down P6, and hopefully we can get it as we chase down Alonso in his slipstream, using that battery charge again to close the gap. Are we going to be close enough for this next braking zone? No, we are not. Almost go straight into the back of Alonso, though. Very ambitious on braking there. Outbrake ourselves a little, and nearly crash into Fernando Alonso, which would have been a disaster. Imagine crashing out of the race after everything that we've been through so far in this race. That would not have been nice to see. But again, this is a prime overtaking spot for me. I feel like I carry so much speed through here compared to the AI. And oversteer for Alonso. We saw Lance Stroll do the exact same thing, and it's a carbon copy of what happened with Lance Stroll. We get a great exit right on his gearbox, make him cover the inside, or is Alonso, he's not even going to be close enough to cover the inside. This time we have to go around the outside of Alonso, and we do make that stick still. That's a very nice move to go around the outside. We've made an overtake on Stroll up the inside into that corner, and now Alonso around the outside, show him that it can be done in both places. Now these tyres very old, but a green sector 1, green sector 2, and we cross the line with a red sector 3, because of course we slowed ourselves down making that overtake. But still a very, very nice lap, even on dying tyres. Now George Russell, the next car ahead, 6.8 seconds. There's only 4 laps left in this race. Are we going to be able to close this 7-second gap? Probably not. You would think not. You know, Alonso still on our tail. We've got to deal with him. The gap in front, 6.7 seconds, as him and George Russell and Lando Norris head down into turn 1. And there's a yellow flag in turn 1 here. What is going on? As we come through, there's a lot of debris in the road. Try and avoid that. Here's George Russell on board, chasing down Lando Norris into turn 1. Lando goes through turn 1, touches the curve and spins and tail whips the front wing of George Russell. That was a Rey Mysterio 619 move right there. And George has lost his front wing. Lando spins, kicks his front wing off, and he straightens up and gets back on the throttle and stays ahead of George Russell. What a moment that is. I was scared we were going to pick up a puncture from all that debris in the road, but luckily we didn't, thankfully. But now George Russell, the car in front, has got no front wing. That gap has gone from 7 seconds down to 3. And I'm just thinking, he's going to be so slow without a front wing. Maybe we can make a move and get up into P5 and then even push on to Lando Norris. Try and get back towards that top 3 again. But the top 3, if you check the map in the bottom left, are absolutely racing ahead now. It looks like they are out of sight and out of mind. But still 3 laps left in this race to close a 3-second gap to Russell and Norris in front. Can we do it? Through the winding S section with no front wing, this section is so hard, and as you can see, Russell has lost 2 seconds on us through that section alone. Down into the braking zone now, he's of course going to come into the pits for a front wing, but I wanted to push as hard as we could anyway to get within DRS of him. Now this is a great play from me right now because we pushed as hard as we could. Russell was coming into the pits anyway, we didn't have to push. But we've come into the pit, Russell's going into the pits, we've pushed, got within 1 second, and now we have DRS down the straight, which is going to give us extra speed down this straight to try and catch Lando Norris. 3.7 seconds ahead, every little bit helps, and that was just a great play for me, I think, to push, even though we didn't have to, because we were going to overtake him anyway, because he was coming into the pits. But is that even going to help us? You know, there's another yellow flag down in sector 1. What is going on with these idiots today? Turn 1 has been an absolute place of chaos. It's going to be Carlos Sainz. What is going on? Carlos into the back of one of the Mercedes. There's one of the Alfa Romeos goes round and crashes in. There's so much going on. What is even happening right now? All of these guys should have the licenses took off them. There's about 17 cars just crashed into each other in turn 1. I don't even know what's going on. And speaking of cars crashing into each other, there goes Fernando Alonso around the outside. There might have been a bit of contact there as we shot it up the inside. But Carlos Sainz involved in that turn 1 incident, possibly going to have to come into the pits again for another front wing. I don't know where Carlos was, if he managed to recover into the points. But even if he did, now he's going to be out of the points because he's going to have to get a new front wing. But the gap to Lando Norris growing to 5 seconds, but 5 seconds at the end of the race as well. We couldn't catch him. Max Verstappen crosses the line to win the race, boys, and we are currently sat in P5. I can't remember exactly how many points that is, but it's looking promising. I'm thinking the best. There's the checkered flag. We cross the line in P5, and we are Drivers' World Champion.
Oh, it's unbelievable! It's unbelievable! We've done it! We've done it! There were times this season where I didn't think that would happen, but mate, you have pulled it out of the bag, and you are the world champion!
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It might have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level at the very top is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Put in the work.
There we have it then, boys. We don't get on the podium, sadly. We were on for a race winner or even a P2, but who cares? We have won the World Championship. Now, here's a little pop quiz trivia question for you. When was the last time a championship got decided by a driver not finishing on... What the hell am I saying? Okay, let me rephrase the question. When was the last time somebody won the championship and didn't finish on the podium in the race that they won the championship in? I'm thinking back to Lewis Hamilton in Brazil. But yeah, let me know. And how often does that happen where obviously we've won the championship but we're not even on the podium to like celebrate in front of the fans or nothing like that? But we finished P5. We end up with 10 points from that race. Let's check out where the 2 Ferrari boys ended. Lewis Hamilton in P2. That is a massive result for Mercedes, which we'll see in a moment. Carlos Sainz with a 4-stop strategy and the fastest lap of the race finishes in P17. Of course, our teammate Ayrton Senna DNF the race, so that's huge for the constructors. Now, I said at the start, of course, the Drivers' Championship is decided. We are the champion. I said at the start it comes down to the last race, and I'm talking about the constructors' standings. Mercedes have overtaken Ferrari in the constructors' standings and are 45 points behind us, and Ferrari are just 47 points behind us. Now, this is huge. We had a Senna DNF in this race, so we got no points to help us in this championship. It is really going to come down to the last race, boys. This season is crazy, but we have won the World Championship. I feel like we've had some really good drives this season. Like I say, we've hardly made a mistake until just then in that race. We've had some real championship drives so far. Just even like I think back to last week in USA, we finished P5, but we just secured the points. You know, don't take any unnecessary risks while you're fighting for a championship. Just get what you need to get. And we do that, you know, and so yeah, all our hard work through the season. I appreciate everyone's support on the series so far as well. But yeah, season 2, we've won the World Championship. It's crazy. We've just had 2 upgrades coming before Brazil. We need a good result. We can wrap up the constructor standings in Brazil. Let's find out what happens in that next episode. Sprint race plus feature race in the next episode is a good one, boys. You do not want to miss it. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. You know the vibes, and I'll catch us next time. Champion out.